All right. What's up, boys? Today we're going to be talking about music. A lot of us listen to music. Some people don't even give it a second thought, but a lot of us younger cats, we listen to a lot of like rap music, trap music. It's really influential nowadays and it's all over the internet, right? But what's really fucked up is that certain types of music, certain types of rhythms, and certain types of tunes can really kill your day and put you in a negative mindset, right? And a negative mindset is the last thing that you want to be in when you're trying to grow and become a different person or change or transform yourself, right? So I'm not going to make this one too long, right? But the first thing I want to touch on is your morning routine, right? If you wake up listening to like heavy music, for example, let's rate it. Let's There's no real scale really, but like there's music that's light, ambient, then there's just calm, relaxing music. Then there's music that's like, a little in between, like, pish posh here and there. Then you have like heavy music, which is like, like certain types of raps, metal, like rock music, even sometimes punk music is a little bit, like heavy, but even though it kind of sits in the middle, pop music is a little bit, like in the middle-ish. But if you wake up, like, listening to like, like all of that like fucked up negative music, like for example, like I'm not gonna name any artists because all artists have like songs that like are like deep. Some artists have songs that are toxic. Some artists have songs that are positive. But if the first thing you do is you wake up and you go to that trap song or you go to that whatever, whatever, who knows? Maybe you hit the trap, whatever, whatever, right? But like if you're trying to change yourself and be a different person, like the music that you listen to really impacts you, especially when you wake up in the morning. For example, I used to wake up in the morning. I used to listen to like a lot of like like Lil Baby, Money Man. Nothing's wrong with that because when I listen to the music, I don't listen to like like the hardcore like trap songs. Like I'll listen to the songs that's motivating and making up about making money. But like I feel completely different when I wake up listening to Bob Marley, and like Peter Tosh, like Buju Banton, even Vibes Cartel. It puts me in a different like mindset, puts me in a different like mode, puts me in like go mode. I'm ready to go, and I feel uplifted. I feel like a better person. At the beginning of the day. It's good to start your day off. On a high note. Pretty much. Um, Next thing I want to touch on is that music really, I mean, I kind of already summed it up, but music really has, there's content and there's also context in the music, right? Like I was saying, like there's music that are really geared towards negativity and that are geared towards certain types of things. Well, like if you're in your early 20s and you're listening to certain types of music because whoever put you on, or maybe this is what you just grew up knowing or listening to because it's popular, like don't I'm not saying to change the music that you listen to, but it's good to take a step back and look at things objectively, right? So I did some research right here and I'll link the sources. I always link my sources down below. But a study shows that music can validate your emotional state. What does that mean? If you're feeling angry and you're listening to angry music can make your anger feel justified, make you feel like you're in the right, because of the type of music that you're listening to, right? Um, it's really therapeutic. Also in the sources, it's really therapeutic if you're listening. If you're feeling angry, you listen to angry music, but you slowly transition into something happy. That's really like a way to change your mood. And it's subtle, but it's effective. Let's put it like that, right? You want to use music to help boost your mood and help carry you throughout your day, like whenever you have tough jobs, whenever you're going through like something that's hard to do, or whenever you hear like get a like whenever you get like bad news, you want to use music to lift you up in that sense, right? Not to put you down, right? Because music is almost like a double-edged sword, right? It can put you down or it can lift you up, but you're the person ultimately in control of what happens and how it does what it does, because music does have an emotional effect on you, whether you want to accept it or not. It's not me, it's what the studies show, it's facts, it's life, it is how it is, you know. Um, Rap music can be uplifting as well as toxic. You know, it depends on who the rapper is, depends on the song that you're listening to, you know. So you can listen to whatever you want to listen to, honestly. But the first step towards controlling your emotions is to be in control, right? Um, if you choose to listen to angry music, then that's your choice. But really, you gotta ask yourself deep down, like, why do I listen to angry music? Why do I choose to listen to angry music, right? I can't tell you what to listen to. But if you're listening to music that puts out negativity and toxicity, you got to ask yourself why you're about that, you know? If it's because you're living a certain life, you're about a certain life, then okay, that's like understandable. You're just in that, that's just the moment that you're in. But for majority of people who aren't living that life, who aren't really about it, they're just listening to the music because everybody else listens to it, right? So you got to ask yourself, why am I listening to something just because other people are listening to it? You know, like, I'm not saying it's wrong, but I'm saying, like, don't you have your own taste? Can't you form your own taste, your own opinions, your own things that you like yourself, right? Like, why do I have to be influenced? You know, and that's one thing with your early 20s is that a lot of us, we get influenced super easy, right? So the next time you're listening to music, whatever it may be, like, ask yourself, how does this make you feel? And do I really like is this something, I don't know. It's kind of hard to say, right? Because there's music that you don't want to listen to. You know the music you don't want to listen to because you don't want to hear it. Like, you know, if you hear your moms, your pops playing certain types of music, you don't really want to hear it, right? So why do you want to hear the music that you want to hear? One of the most important things about transforming yourself, about being emotionally aware, is to be conscious of why you think about what you think and what leads you to certain decisions and to certain, like thoughts, right? So if I had an action plan or something that I can put into action today, is to just be more conscious of the shit that I listen to, like be more conscious of like nothing's wrong with any artist or any type of music, but everything has its purpose. Like maybe it's not the best idea to listen to, like trap songs like 9 a.m. in the morning. If you're not hitting the trap, if you're not like doing that like scam songs like fraud music, like like guns and violence, like nothing's wrong with like, well, I'm not advocating for anything, but like if you're not about the life, like just be who you are. It's best to be true to yourself because at the end of the day, when everything's said and done, when the dust settles, you only have yourself. So it's just something to keep in mind, right? You have to keep these things in mind because if you don't keep them in mind, then they control your mind. But I didn't want to make this video too long. So yeah, I just got back home from work and boom, boom, boom. I said let me write a quick one. So you guys enjoyed? You like this stuff? You want to see more comments? Subscribe. Let me know what you want to see. That's it.